iMovie may come free with Macintosh OS X, and we may keep referring to it as a very basic editing program, but it still has some cool features and effects. And if this is what the basic program has, imagine what's in the more professional level software like Adobe Premiere. We're going to go through adding titles to your movie and using some of iMovie's fun video effects. But first, let's talk about a simple and cool effect you can use. Right next to the zoom tool under your timeline, you will find the slow motion, fast motion bar. Select a clip by clicking on it in your timeline and it will be highlighted blue. The speed bar will have its toggle control in the middle, which is the neutral position. On the left, there's a rabbit, and on the right, there's a turtle. As you might guess, dragging the toggle towards the rabbit will speed up the clip, and dragging it towards the turtle will slow it down. You'll be able to see this effect on your timeline because as you change the speed of your clip, it will get longer or shorter on the timeline. Now you can make that car look extra fast or do some slow-mo kung fu moves. That was an easy one. Now let's move over to the toolbar under your clip window to take a look at titles, transitions, and effects. Of course you'll want titles for your movie because otherwise, who will take credit for that grand artistic vision? Click on the Titles button to bring up the Titles control panel. There are lots of options here, but we'll just be focusing on the basics. There are two main ways to put titles into a movie: over black or over video. The way you accomplish either of these is actually really intuitive. If you want your titles over black, you just create a space for them in the timeline and drag them down like you would any other video clip. If you want them over video, you drag them onto the desired video. Let's start from the beginning by taking a look at the titles controls. You have a preview window with some options right below it, then a list of different title effects like 3D spin, centered, and scrolling. Below that are your text controls and your actual text fields. Go to the bottom and type in your text. We'll try "Best Movie Ever," and then set your font and size. I'm going to choose Arial and make my letters as big as I can. I'm also going to make them red using the color box. First we'll do this over black. Check the box marked over black and then go up to the Title Effects menu. You can choose from any of these, but I'll go with 3D spin right at the top. Now your title will preview with the effect you chose in the preview window. You'll see a speed slider right below the preview bar, and this is actually a duration function. Choose how long you want your title to be up. The number will appear in the preview window, and then hit the preview button to see what it will look like in the monitor. Once you're happy with your title, you click and hold on the effect you chose, in this case 3D spin, and drag it onto your timeline. And there's your title. Now for something a little more complex. Try turning off the over black feature. Now click on the arrow next to Bounce Across and choose Bounce Across from the list. Now you've got a few more options under the preview window. Pause lets you pause your title for a set time so the effect stops and people can read it clearly and easily. Wave is specific to the bounce across effect, and many effects have their own controls. It's best to just play around with these a little and see what you like. Now let's grab our title by clicking and holding on the effect, bounce across, and drag it down onto one of our clips. And presto, the title appears over the video. Transitions, the next button over, work much the same way as titles. Transitions are used over cuts in your movie to create effects like dissolves from one shot to another. Clicking the button marked Trans will pull up your transition control panel and present you with a list of transitions. Go to a cut on your timeline and then look at your list of transitions. You can choose anything from this list and click Preview to see what it will look like. We'll use Circle Closing Transition at the top. If you like your transition, and I do, just grab it and drag it down onto your cut. It might take a second or two to render, but then you can play through your timeline to see your transition in action. Now onto effects. Choose effects to bring up your effects control panel. First, select a clip from your timeline by clicking on it to turn it blue or selected, and then choose an effect from the effect menu. Once again, each effect has its own properties and particular controls, so you'll want to experiment a little bit to see what everything does. But just like with titles and transitions, you can click the preview button to see what it will look like before committing to anything. For instance, if you choose aged film, you can affect the exposure, jitter, and scratches, and play with the combinations of these controls to get the effect you want. Once you're happy with your effect, choose Apply to apply the effect to the clip you've chosen. And that's it. You can now add titles, transitions, and effect to your movie. These easy additions can really spice up your movie and add a lot of fun to the editing process as well, so get to it.